the role of millets in achieving food security and ways to promote their production and consumption. I bring you warm greetings from ICRISAT Patancheru in Hyderabad, India. My name is Victor Afari-Sefa, and I lead one of ICRISAT's global research programs by name Enabling Systems Transformation. On this prestigious occasion, we at ICRISAT are very excited to share this video on the role of millets in achieving food and nutrition security and ways to promote their production and consumption in the context of Namibia. As some of you might be aware, millets are among the first plants to be domesticated and considered nutri-cereals due to their high nutritional content. As you might be aware, they have served as a traditional staple for hundreds of millions of people in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia for 7,000 years and are now cultivated across the world. However, their cultivation is declining in many countries, and their potential to address the ravaging effects of climate change and food security is not being fully realized. Consequently, limited awareness of their health and nutritional benefits and prevailing social taboos associating millets being a poor man's food hinder their widespread acceptance. Similarly, the lack of diverse millet-based recipes and value-added products makes millets less appealing to children and youngsters. Moreover, minimal efforts have been made to explore alternative uses of millets, such as for brewing and branding as local alcoholic beverage. There are also issues with the production environment of millets, including low yields and rising cost of production, which have adversely affected its competitiveness. In addition, existing national and international policies favor major cereals such as rice and wheat and commercial crops rather than millets. Promoting millets can thus be a gateway for the transformation of rural landscapes in various countries, including Namibia. Besides supplying calories, they are also a rich source of protein, fiber, minerals, and vitamins. Millets have climate-resilient properties as they are hardy crops and can be grown successfully in marginal lands, with minimal water and external inputs, thereby promoting sustainable agriculture. Millets also contribute significantly to a country's health by generating employment in both rural and urban areas through production, value addition, and marketing of millets and millet-based products, as well as linking to agrotourism, among others. Moreover, millet farming enhances agroecological services as well as helps conserve agrobiodiversity. Recognizing the multifaceted importance of millets, the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed 2023 as the International Year of Millets, responding to the request of the Government of India and endorsed by members of the FAO governing body. Indeed, millets fit seamlessly into ICRISAT's branded Smart Food family, which encompasses various nutri-cereals, including the millet family, sorghum, and pulses, such as pigeon pea and chickpea. Smart food is food that fulfills the criteria of being good for you, that is in terms of nutrition and health, good for the planet in terms of environmental sustainability, and good for the farmer in terms of being climate smart with the potential to increase yields and have multiple uses. In this context, millets in particular have a low carbon and water footprint, requiring fewer inputs like water, fertilizer, and pesticides, and exhibiting faster growth and early maturity compared to many other cereals. Millets, like other smart foods, have multiple uses, particularly as food, fodder, and ready-to-use secondary products. From the nutrition and health perspective, there is circumstantial evidence to show that millets help to manage type 2 diabetes, improves lipid profiles, and reduce anemia, as well as reducing calcium deficiencies. In Namibia, pearl millets and sorghum are the most populous of the millet family and are staple food for more than 60% of the 2.6 million population. Pearl millet, known locally as mahungu in Namibia, was by far the most important grain crop in the country before colonization and arrival of settlers from Europe. Today, it is still the second most important crop after maize and a major staple in both urban and rural regions. Pearl millet is typically processed into flour, porridge, and a daily consumed fermented acidic beverage in Namibia, known locally as ontaku or oshikundu. In the 1990s to early 2000s, ICRISAT, in partnership with the Namibian Agricultural Ministry through the SADC ICRISAT Sorghum and Millets Improvement Program, developed several improved pearl millet varieties with large seeds and very good yield potential. Annual production of pearl millet has, however, been highly variable between 20,000 to 90,000 metric tons over the past 12 years, referring to 2010 to 2023, mainly due to high fluctuations in rainfall resulting from climate change. In Namibia, the consumption of pearl millet represents 20% of the national cereal consumption, while maize represents 1/3, 33% specifically. On the average, the per capita consumption of maize is around 44 kilograms per year, while that for millet is about 29 kilograms per year. Although millet is second highest in terms of domestic cereal production, Namibia still imports substantial quantities of its pearl millet to fulfill local demand. In July 2022, the Namibian Agronomic Board announced a temporary restriction on the importation of pearl millet. Specifically, the closed border regime was enforced retroactively between June and November of 2022. Such an enabling policy could indeed trigger and increase local production if complemented with supportive policies for enhancing local production and improving value addition in the short term. Understanding and validating consumer and industry preferred traits is very critical, as we do not only need to look at what ordinary households or consumers look for. It is important to understand industry is also looking at in terms of processing. Now, the key issues are nutritional starch fractions towards validating the health claims, particularly on the low glycemic index and gut health that was articulated earlier on. Another important aspect is antioxidant capacity, looking at total phenols, assays established, quantity-free radical conversion capacity of grains and products. We also need to look at the rapid assay of rancidity profiling in millets for quick screening. Rancidity, as you might be aware, is a major issue in the milling industry for millets. Rapid single grain-based amylose assay for screening of amylose content in pearl millet is also very important, because the amylose is the factor that allows for binding, particularly in the baking industry. To this end, promoting smart food and developing functional protein ingredients from millets and pulses is critical. Exploring millets in developing plant-based meat and egg alternatives have become a contemporary need, particularly for vegetarians and vegans. Now, there are several options in terms of how the millet markets will be looking in the future, and these can be well articulated from the slide that is being shown. Options to further improve the production and consumption of millets, specifically in Namibia, include further improvement in variety development enhance agronomic practices, including the introduction and use of smallholder farm mechanization equipment. Another point is to increase the productivity of millet-based cropping systems, making them economically viable and exploring options for using sorghum and fodder for Namibia's dynamic livestock industry. We also need to improve household grain storage for enhanced food safety. Grains are traditionally stored in woven baskets. In recent times, corrugated steel storage bins have been introduced, but do not keep the grain cool, unlike the baskets. And this needs to be improved through research and development. Another point is to optimize the efficiency of millet mechanical threshing and winnowing machines. We also need to improve the efficiency of grain milling machines. In terms of the demand side, there is the need to undertake nutritional awareness campaigns to increase household consumption of millets to enhance household nutrition security, while creating increased demand for millets with a focus on women and children. To this end, improving the drying of Ushifima mahungu, which is a stiff porridge millet flour, will be critical. The use of protected solar voltaic fan-assisted solar dryers, as opposed to the current system of open sun drying by most households, should be encouraged. We also need to promote cottage millet processing enterprises to capture markets for various value-added products of millets. And in this context, ICRISAT's convergence model is an example as shown in the slide. We also need to provide incentives for private sector participation, such as tax incentives, and encourage millet-based corporate social responsibility development programs in target communities of Namibia. Finally, we need to incorporate millets in state nutrition programs and other schemes such as school feeding programs, along with other institutional consumers such as hospitals, prison services, amongst others. Now, how can ICRISAT assist with improving millet production and consumption in Namibia? This can be done in the following ways. We can help develop a strategy to establish sustainable formal and informal seed systems for millets in Namibia, ensuring that the two systems are complementary. Secondly, we can establish linkages between research, extension, and seed stakeholders to improve the network from research to development. We also need to strengthen the technical and business capacity of seed enterprises to effectively target profitable seed production and supply. In addition, we need to develop institutional capacity for breeders, foundation and certified seed multiplication, and also build capacity to establish effective decentralized production systems and accelerate seed distribution pathways adhering to quality standards. As a complement, we also need to offer technical support in millet agronomy, including on-farm and post-harvest mechanization and milling to improve the efficiency of millet processing. ICRISAT can also provide technical assistance in the development of millet-based food products and recipe, including quick-to-prepare and ready-to-eat drink pearl millet products. As a complement to the supply and demand side, we also need to engage policymakers to streamline millet production and consumption policy in Namibia, facilitating the scaling of millets incentives. Thank you very much.